Good morning. Buenos dias. True line true. Welcome to another episode of Movers and Shakers Unlimited, where we will be discussing today the rise of the evil AI in the episode A Few Badges More. As always, I am joined with my host, Josh Pritchett. Josh, do you want to say hello to our viewers today?
And welcome to all starships in the Alpha, Beta, Gamma, and Delta quadrants. Hi, Chris. How you doing?
I'm doing well, Josh. I missed last week. I was at the Maryland Renaissance Festival, my first time there.
Really, I have not been in a very long time. Is it still down in Annapolis?
Yeah, it's still down there, and I
Ah.
saw plenty of Starfleet personnel, among other things.
Yeah, Renaissance fairs when I used to go many moons ago. It was a very big draw for a lot of Star Trek fans, and even Klingon fans would like to show up in their costumes and sort of act out kind of a either time traveling or holodeck adventure. So I wish I could have gone with you. It would be nice to see it
It
again.
it is. It's sort of like being in our very own holodeck adventure. But speaking of adventures, today we had a very interesting episode with two adventures. One that moved along the main plot of the series. We found out what is happening with the ships, but we also
Mm.
caught up with not one, not two, but three of our evil AI friends.
Yes, we did. What have these guys been up to? Probably scheming and planning to destroy the universe, I guess, huh?
Let's find out with our recap.
Okay, with that, let's hit it.
So we begin with a species we haven't seen in a quite a long time, which is the Binars. And so the Binars are themselves once again targets of the whatever entity is seemingly destroying ships. And so they also fall prey to it. And then the scene shifts to the Cerritos, where they have been given a very important mission. And not at all because they are just happen to be the closest ones to the last location, the Binars, when they disappeared, which is to go and investigate like what exactly has happened. And I am purposely withholding something that's happened at the beginning just for respect. But so they're going to go there, except Bradford is not going to be joining with them, nor is Tammy, because they have a special mission, which is to go to the Daystrom Institute, because Peanut Hamper, yes, that very same Peanut Hamper is up for parole. And Starfleet wants her there, Tanny there, so that she can help listen and verify if indeed we think that Peanut Hamper has changed her evil ways. But that's not the only thing happening. Agamus, the evil AI who Bradford helped defeat, says that he has key information about the disappearances, and he will only, very Hannibal Lecter style, share it with Bradford. So there's a split up of teams, and they both head to the Daystrom Institute, where we see what is possibly one of the most brilliant scenes I've ever seen in Lower Decks, and truly, this is saying something. The rehabilitation of the evil AIs. They are in group therapy, they are practicing at the gym, and they are practicing gardening, where we see Agamus and Peanut Hamper, who last we saw were cellmates, and they are fine tuning their gardening skills. Where Agamus admires not only Peanut Hamper's thespian abilities, but also her ability to grow organics. And Agamus notes that growing organics is almost as easy as destroying organics. And it clearly seems that they have an evil plot between themselves to escape, where Peanut Hamper openly talks about how she's going to give this great speech to the parole board to get out. And even though we hear that a leopard can't change its spots, apparently an evil AI can change its colors because with some effort and after a lot of practice, Agamus is able to change his evil red color to a nice, peaceful blue. To help fool Bradford. And so it seems like these two evil AIs are going to be getting loose in the Daystrom Institute. And then the scene changes to the Cerritos, where Joss, I will let you continue from there and fill in the hole that I purposely left out at the start.
Yes. Well, the Cerritos arrives at the coordinates where the Bionar ship was lost, and suddenly a Dothraki salvage vessel arrives. Now, of course, we met the Dothraki before. They're kind of a big, brutish race of people. And who should happen to be controlling the Dothraki ship? Our old friend Badgie. That's right. Rutherford's AI Frankenstein-esque son has returned, and he has managed to take over the crew of the Dothraki ship. And of course, he opens fire on the Cerritos, and given that he has complete knowledge of all Federation starship vessels, he is able to, bypass the Cerritos' shields and also anticipate their evasive maneuvers. Rutherford decides that he's going to offer himself up as a sacrifice to try to appease Badgie. So he quickly puts on a spacesuit, jumps out of an airlock, but then Mariner decides that, follows him, and they both get beamed aboard the Dothraki ship, where Rutherford embraces Badgie, says that he loves him and he's sorry for the way he treated him. Badgie becomes very conflicted and suddenly splits off into two beings. Badgie, that we've always known, and Guji. Guji having all of Badgie's positive emotions and sense of humor and all kinds of nice stuff. But of course, Badgie will have none of this. He wants to hurt Rutherford by killing all humanoid life in the universe. And to do this, he is going to take the Dothraki ship to warp 9.9 and hack his way into subspace, where he will then take over every computer, comm badge, everything, and gain the total sum of all knowledge in the galaxy. Meanwhile, Bradford has gone in to have his one-on-one with Agamas. Again, very Hannibal Lecter-esque style. And after a bit of going back and forth, Bradford is showing that he's become very smart over the years. And at first he realizes that Agamas may be trying to trick him, but then Agamas starts, kind of revealing details that, might indicate he's telling the truth. And Agamas explains that he had a drone near that area of space that saw the whole attack on the Bionar ship. Well, he needs to be able to physically link up with that drone and get the full details of the attack. So Bradford and Tendi agree to take Agamas to that area under, of course, restraint, because we don't dare let him hack into a mainframe. And then once they get to a certain point, Agamas, using his drones that he's able to make himself, manages to capture Tendi and Bradford, and they go off to a tropical planet where Agamas is supposed to meet Peanut Hamper. But Peanut Hamper doesn't show up. And he starts getting wondering what happened to her. And then he thinks, maybe she's conniving without me. That's so brilliant of her. And Agamas decides to, for the heck of it, while he's waiting, take over a planet. But finds the whole thing extremely unsatisfying because Peanut Hamper isn't there to share the experience with him. So Tendi decides, hey, I'll look up where she is on the Starfleet parole board database, which for an AI, the fact that Agamas didn't think to do that at first shows that maybe he's a little bit more on the artificial and not so much on the intelligence, but that's another story. And then we head back to the Dothraki ship and Mariner and Rutherford as they are trying to escape from Badgie with the help of Guji. Chris, you ready to pick it up again?
So they are in dire straits because obviously what has happened, but Guji turns out to be staying with them after we ultimately have the Gary Mitchell style transcendence of Badgie to godhood, but then upon reaching this state, he realizes that why am I doing this? Like, I'm above all of this, and he decides to go join the Great Koala, which we haven't seen since season 1, and wishes everyone luck, and says maybe he'll hang out with the Q, and he's going to populate his own universe. And meanwhile, as we have seen with what's happening with Agamas, that after leaving the beaches of Ecuador, they do find Peanut Hamper on the other exocomps research station. And at first, Agamas is delighted, thinking, oh, it's like he's putting all these drones to menial work. Like, that's how torturesome for them. That even this is so evil, even I couldn't have thought of it. Until finds out that, Peanut Hamper really has rehabilitated. And, she had no intention of going to Plymar to subjugate everyone there, because, she's realized that her way of thinking before was wrong, that the help she received at the Daystrom Institute helped her realize that, she can be better. And then Agamas is like, then you tricked me. Why are we talking about all of this? And she says, well, because I liked your company, and, I just wanted to spend more time with you. And Agamas then reflects slightly and realizes that he too wants to just spend time with her. And she says, well, don't you want to conquer the planet? And he's like, I've already conquered a planet before, been there, done that. I enjoy spending time with you. And then we have a scene where he meets Peanut Hamper's parents, who apparently his name is Kevin. And you have a classic meet the parents moment where it's like, no, sir, of course, don't have those type of designs on your daughter. And hey, is there anything you need done around the station? Because, I've got these drones that can help out. And meanwhile, Brad is watching all of this with Mariner, and Mariner's like, don't we need to take him back? And he's like, yeah, but let's give him a few minutes. And then we end up back at a Daystrom Institute, where Agamas is placed once again in his cell next to Tyrannochilus, who is giving him a hard time, the great escape artist. Here he is, he's back. And Brad is like, yeah, it's all good. I just wish what you told me, you really did have some information. And this is where Agamas says, no, wait a minute. That part actually was true. My drone did capture some footage of the vehicle being taken away. And Brad is like, what? Taken away? And you see that the drone has recorded image of the ships are not being destroyed. They're being kidnapped. They're being towed away to places unknown. So this is a big movement forward for the season. So he says, I got to tell this to Starfleet right away. And then we end up back on the Cerritos, where Goody is there, and which totally freaks out a bit Mariner and Brad, because they remember Badgie, and trying to be the good father. Rutherford saying, no, Goody's completely different. He's okay. But everyone's kind of like, and so they decide to kind of go anywhere else. And there's a father-son moment where Rutherford and Goody are working on the grappler on the Sequoia. And scene.
Yeah. So that was a very good episode. It really moved like you said, the overall arching plot of the season forward.
Yeah.
But it also managed to eliminate the top 3 suspects we've had all year for who is behind the destruction of the various starships in the quadrant. So I think we should move in to talk about this more in the good, the bad, and the Gorn. What do you think, Chris?
I do, and I love the fact that all of a sudden something that we thought for sure was either Badgie or somehow Peanut Hamper or Agamas is no longer. So we still have 3 episodes dedicated to who is taking the ships. And again, what a great twist that they're not actually being destroyed. Someone is taking the ships. Where are they taking them? Who is it? Who is taking them if it's not the evil AIs? I mean, just when you think that, this show can spring something else on us to make us want to watch the show even more, they do it.
Yes. And I was, I was very pleasantly surprised that it wasn't the usual suspects, that it's somebody new, somebody we haven't suspected. I have an idea who, it might be. I'm hoping I'm kind of wrong, because I think this has been something that's been overdone since New Trek got started here. But I like the fact that there was that. I like the fact that Badgie refers to exploring the Black Mountain, which we don't really know what that is about. We just know that it's been this kind of weird David Lynch-esque scene that people have been experiencing the last couple of seasons when they have near-death experiences, and they talk to the electric blue koala bear and look out the window, and there's this big giant black mountain that, with storms raging. What the heck is going on here? So I'm supposing it has something to do with that. And I like the fact that we brought these characters back. I like the fact that Jeffrey Combs was back as Agamus. He's a huge fan favorite in Star Trek community.
Great voice. Great.
Oh yeah, just amazing talent. I mean, he's amazing. I mean, he's played numerous roles in Star Trek. As he's played Ferengi, he's played Weyoun of the Vorta on Deep Space Nine. He's played Shran, the Andorian general on Star Trek Enterprise. Just tremendous guy.
Liquidator Brunt.
Oh yes,
Liquidator Brunt
of the FCC. Yes. Yeah, not too subtle joke there, guys. So that was always been one of my favorite characters. He's so brilliant. I love that in going back for a second, back to Deep Space Nine, one of the final episodes of the series finale in the last season of DS9. Combs played 3 different parts in one episode. So he had to play Weyoun, Brunt. No, it was 2. He had to play both Weyoun and Brunt in that episode. So just kind of a callback. So let's see, what else? What were some other good things you really liked?
Well, I like the fact that instead of someone becoming eminently evil once they achieve godhood, for once we had someone achieve godhood and realize, I'm above all of this. Why am I doing this? In the really grand scheme of things, what I thought was important really isn't important. And he decides to just ascend, which when you become a higher being, I've always thought, wouldn't that actually be what happens? Everyone doesn't have to be a Gary Mitchell. Or, for example, a Dukat. It doesn't have to be they all become even more evil. Why can't the perspective change? So I love that we did not have a Gary Mitchell or Dukat I've become an evil god now.
Yeah, that was very cool. And you know what it reminded me of? The ending of Watchmen, when Dr. Manhattan realizes that he's completely over the cares and the problems of his Earth, and decides that he's going to go into another universe and create life. Yeah. That he's just going to go become a god. And I mean, I think it's interesting that now you think about it, Badgie turned this kind of deep blue, and it kind of got me thinking, oh, he's become Dr. Manhattan. It just as a thought there, that he's going to go off and do this now, that he has, he's looking at why do I want to destroy all life? It doesn't make sense. I am Alpha and Omega. I'm the beginning, middle, and ending of everything. I have all this power and knowledge. Why do I want to why do I want to do that? And I think I'll just go off and create some life of my own, and maybe hang out with the Q, whatever. I'm kind of over this need for vengeance now. Bye, Father. And that was very cool.
I also loved the rehabilitation scenes of the AI. I mean, how brilliant was that? That we've seen them locked up, and we've seen efforts to rehabilitate people on the penal Vulcan colonies. I'm sorry, it's a rehabilitation center. Excuse me for all the Vulcans out there. But why not try to rehabilitate AIs? And it was just brilliant to see them gardening, to see them in therapy sessions together, to see them at the gym. They were watching Lassie, and if you paid attention, it was Lassie, and it wasn't Tommy. It was another AI on the screen with Lassie. I mean, it's just the the attention to detail, the group therapy. Brilliant. Why not try to rehabilitate AIs? I mean, fantastic.
Yeah, right. I agree. It's that there, because of going back to the episode Measure of a Man, which was talked about on NPR the other day when they were interviewing Patrick Stewart. Yeah, I mean, if they are life forms, then you have to treat them like life forms. You can't just dismantle this computer. You actually have to rehabilitate it. You have to, try to do what you would do to a human criminal. You have to help them understand what they did wrong, why they're being punished, and what they need to learn how to do going forward. And I thought that was interesting.
I mean, I'm never going to forget Lassie on an AI. I mean, again, just like the attention to detail. And, movie, too many movies have portrayed like the AIs of like, becoming evil, right?
Yeah.
But how many times have we actually seen the reverse, like the AI going from evil to being good? And why not? So again, like, this episode just opened up new territory as far as like, what can we do on a different perspective? So yes, brilliant, brilliant, brilliant.
Yeah. It makes you wonder, well, I mean, if we could have rehabbed Lore, but obviously, Lore has been reabsorbed. I mean, well, in a way, I guess he is, because he was reabsorbed by Data into Data's consciousness. So, I think again, that's something that you need to think about there.
I mean, if an AI can achieve a moment where they can think, well, I've been bad, but now it's not beyond my capacity to be good. I mean, it's all about evolving. And, you saw the evolution of Peanut Hamper, and you saw Agamus, and he's like, I'm going to use my therapy sessions to get at the root cause of why I'm doing this. And I want to change because I want to go back and hang out with my friends. So I really hope this is not the last we see of Agamus and of Peanut Hamper, because I really liked it.
Yeah, I think the thing is there with them is they are great characters, and you're right. I mean, we never see the AI get redeemed. I mean, except for maybe like Terminator 2, but even then, that's more like, oh, okay, John Connor reprogrammed a T-800 to go back in time and protect him from the T-1000. It's not exactly the same thing, because the AIs have to want, like human prisoners, they have to want to be helped, redeemed, etc. And clearly, I think that Agamus and Peter Hamper wanted to do this. And I think, obviously Badgie, when he realized how much power he really could have, it was so overwhelming for him that, yeah, okay, I'm going to move on. I don't need to be this guy anymore,
Among the many things I also liked about this episode was even the small thing of Tandy when she's at the beach, like, oh my God, this is fantastic. On Orion, we only have these sharp crystals. Because you never get enough, I think, in Star Trek of people who go to Earth and then like talk about how different Earth is to their planet, and even the small things. Because sand is such a small thing, but yet it would make perfect sense to blow your mind. Like, oh my God, this substance that I can make constructs of, like this, the closest thing I have on my planet is X. So one thing I think that makes Lower Decks shine is just like, again, the attention to small little details.
Right. I mean, you get Tendi talking about sand. I mean, how cool, obviously she and Anakin Skywalker would have some serious arguments about sand, but yeah, I mean, about how different things are. I mean, obviously Earth being a far wetter planet than Vulcan, the amount of water Earth has in comparison to Vulcan probably is mind-boggling. I mean, I'm sure Vulcans understand why that is, but it's still very surprising. And also, it's been mentioned several times that Earth has a much more diverse ecosystem than most other planets in the Federation. that, we have more seasons and stuff, and they make a point that, yeah, Earth is tilted and stuff. So of course it gets seasons, but like Andoria is pretty much always, it's always snowing, it's always cold and snowy. So
Josh, did we have anything bad with this episode?
No. Oh, wait. I want to go back to one more thing about the good. I'm so glad the Bionars are back. We're back. Before we go into the bad, I'm sorry, Chris, but we have not really seen the Bionars since season 1 of Next Generation. And I mean, we kind of see them sometimes in the background on Deep Space Nine and I think on an episode of Next Generation. But the Bionars, I'm surprised no one's thought to do characters of them. At least, I think they've done it in the books, but I don't think they've done it in the TV shows or anywhere else. I mean, it would be kind of interesting because you'd obviously have to have 2 of them. They would be a set, and so, I'm surprised we haven't had more of that.
Well, it brings me hope that if we see the Bionars, maybe one day we will finally at last see the Grisellians.
Yes.
Not in hibernation.
They've been sleeping a lot, man.
They sleep a lot. That's right.
Yeah, okay, so on to the bad. I didn't really have too many complaints about it. I mean, I thought it was very well done. I think we moved the plot, certainly. So I mean, I would like a little bit more information. I would like to what is the deal with the Black Mountain? I mean, what's going on here? But I guess we're going to have to wait until we get closer to the final episode to find out all these answers.
The only thing bad I would say, which is when they're being attacked by the Jogmani, and she's saying Captain Freeman is saying, evasive maneuvers, and the pilot says like, we're trying, but they know all our evasive patterns. This is where you need an Ortegas, because a good pilot is someone who just knows all the standard, evasive maneuvers and, how to fly a ship according to like the book. The really good pilots know how to fly the ship off the book. And whether it's it being like, an Ortegas implementing a pattern Ortegas 1, but here's where you show that, you can't just have pilots fly by the book, because other people read the book. And it's sort of like in the scene in Maverick, the second one, not the first one, where he's addressing all the best of the best. And he says, this is the book. Like, forget about the book because your enemy knows what the book is. Like here as well, you see that what separates good pilots from great pilots is the great pilots know how to fly off the book. And if we would have had Ortegas in that seat, she would have known how to implement her own maneuvers that would not have been standard Federation style and would have been able to avoid the Trackmani. So my bad would be that it shows that people who are good know how to do things by the book. People who are great know how to do things off the book.
Yeah, and well, I mean, the helm is her realm.
Oh, nice rhyme.
I wish I could take credit for that, but that was of course back to the musical episode, Strange New Worlds. But yeah, Ortegas is definitely, I think, of all the great pilots of helms people we've had on Star Trek, she's definitely up there, and so is Tom Paris and Hikaru Sulu. But yeah, you do need a little bit more individual thinking. And so I think Freeman does encourage that, but I think that, sometimes, crew members have to show some initiative on something like that. I'm surprised Mariner, who was actually the pilot, the helms person, or was she? I mean, or did they switch it up? And, because usually
well, she's a lieutenant junior grade now, so she may have evolved beyond like having to pilot the ship all the time.
Maybe I don't know. I mean,
the only other bad thing I want to say is it's 2 episodes in a row that we have not had Talim, and so I need some Talim.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, we need more Talim. Where's our Vulcan science officer?
I'm glad that 3 episodes ago she got such a focus on her episode, which was fantastic. And so I understand that Now that the crew has grown, you need some episodes to focus on different people, which fine. Don't focus on the same person every time because that might get repetitive. But we need some Talem for the next episode.
Yeah, hopefully we will get that going forward. One thing, and I'm just going to mention this in the bad, it may not be anything. Looking at the ship that is abducting everybody else, the design of it reminds me of a giant version of the Agonizer from the Mirror Universe. You remember that when we saw that way back in the original Mirror Universe episode? But that could be just a coincidence.
Yeah, I don't think the Mirror Universe is doing an incursion in kidnapping ships. Who knows? Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't quite see that. That I think would come too much out of left field.
Yeah, I don't. I'm hoping that maybe there's just going to be a new original group. I don't think it's going to. I mean, the only people we haven't seen this season that have been recurring villains on Lower Decks are the Pakleds, and this does not seem like their style, unless
not too advanced.
Yeah, well, too intelligent, and yeah, I mean, unless the Pakleds suddenly gained collectively 500 IQ points each, I don't see them doing it. 500 IQ points would just get them out of the minus level that they kind of operate on right now. So
it would get them out of the stage of like, wow, this match fire.
Oh yeah. So moving into the Gorn. Oh yeah. So obviously we touched on AI redemption. That was quite a thing. And also the whole thing with Rutherford embracing Badgie, acknowledging that he's my son, and I created this life form, and I didn't take responsibility for it. I really should have. Yeah, I mean, if we go forward on artificial intelligence, we're going to have to be more we're going to have to be very responsible in shaping this life form going forward, don't you think?
I think that there is more responsibility to it than people acknowledge or want to acknowledge. I mean, we use AI right now. I mean, if you use Photoshop, to a certain extent, you're using AI. It's as the advanced uses are going to require some care and concern, which unfortunately we're probably not going to see because corporations want to promote the usage of AI to unfortunately do away with workers, and that way they don't have to pay them salaries, so they don't have to pay them benefits. Look at cash registers at grocery stores, or look at banks with the empty teller slots because everyone's using ATM or they're banking online. I mean, sadly, technological advances are more used by corporations as a way to increase their bottom line. So with that type of attitude, as we see AI progressing more and more, if your motivation is profit more than service, it's probably not going to be a good end result, but we'll see.
Right. And I think that the thing, obviously, with the artificial intelligence we see in much of science fiction, whether it's, again, Star Wars, Star Trek, The Terminator, Doctor Who, etc., all of that artificial intelligence is self-aware. I don't think an ATM machine is self-aware. I don't think chat AI is self-aware. I think that
we're the path to self-awareness.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if anything's ever really passed the self-awareness test, or the Turing test, as it's called. But eventually there will be an AI, I'm sure, that will pass that Turing test. So, as Captain Picard said in Measure of a Man, where Starfleet was founded to find new life, well, there it sits. And so the decisions this court makes will have ramifications for all that follow him to come. So make it a good one. So, I side with the writers right now that yes, we do not want Chat AI to write all the TV episodes because so far Chat AI sucks at it. Not that wouldn't necessarily matter to network executives. I mean, these are the people that have put on some crappy TV shows over the last,
according
70
to
years.
Jim, for how many seasons?
Say what?
The show, according to Jim, for like how many seasons?
Oh, wow. Too many to even think about. But for some reason, some network executives have apparently considered this. They don't care how bad it is. They'll just try it anyway. But in the meantime, until I think AI gets self-aware, I don't think the quality of the work will ever be that good. I mean, AI is just, like when we use Google, for example, to find something, it just finds it within the program parameters. It does not innovate. It doesn't go beyond that. It just goes to where the metadata is.
AI is here. We will just have to see just how far it moves forward. And yeah, there will be a point where self-awareness is coming. I mean, it's not going to be tomorrow. It's not going to be like next week, but technology advances, and at some point it'll advance to that stage. Let's hope it's not quite Agamus and Peanut Hamper. At least early stage Agamus and early stage Peanut Hamper.
Yeah, we can hope. So moving on, before we get into predictions, I have some exciting Star Trek news. So New York Comic Con was this weekend. It was announced that there will be a season 4 of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. However, it did not have a release date because of the ongoing strike, and also because I'm sure the writers do need to catch up again. But right now, it does not appear as though we have a confirmed date when we're going to have season 3 of Strange New Worlds, but it is on the slate. It was also announced at New York Comic Con that the comic book Star Trek Sons of Starfleet will be premiered from IDW Comics. This is going to be taking place in the aftermath of Star Trek Day of Blood, in which Kahless attempts to take over the Alpha and Beta quadrants and subject them all to a gruesome cult. Now, in the aftermath of it, Alexander Rishenko, Jake Sisko, Lieutenant Commander Nog, and the son of Q Jr., all have to sort of figure out their place and also encounter alternate versions of themselves. So that should be, if you're a huge comic fan and you need a Star Trek fix, there you go. Chris, and of course, Patrick Stewart did a great interview on NPR's Fresh Air this week where he promoted his new book, Making It So. There are tour dates, but I think they've all been sold out. Chris, did you manage to score yourself a ticket to see Patrick Stewart promoting his book in D.C.?
No, of all the notices that I do not care about for Politics and Prose, they never sent me the notice about Patrick Stewart appearance at the Wharf. So shame on you, Politics and Prose.
Yeah,
I did not get to see Patrick Stewart. But for those who are in cities where Patrick is still going to be appearing, which I think is on the West Coast, he prefers train travel, and he is surreptitiously signing books. And if there's a bookstore at the train station where he arrives. So if you follow him on Instagram, you can see this is something he's doing, that he arrives at the train station and then he goes to, if there's a bookstore at the train station, he is signing his books. So if you're on the West Coast where he's still going to, go to your train station if he's making an appearance that day, signing books. And then as far as Strange New Worlds go, Season 2 comes out on Blu-ray or DVD on Thanksgiving, and I don't expect us to see Strange New Worlds again until start of 24, end of 23, because they had just started filming the episodes, and that's not even putting in special effects when the strike happened. So you figure between filming the episodes and then having to put in the special effects. It's going to be a Droughtlander style wait until we can see Strange New Worlds again.
Yeah, and just to touch on what you just said about DVD and Blu-ray, a quick, I forgot, that slipped my mind. Thank you for reminding me. Blockbuster, Best Buy. Sorry. Best Buy has announced this week that they will discontinue selling DVDs and Blu-rays in their stores. So,
starting 24. So if you still want to grab some, head over to the sales. They'll probably happen end of December, but it's just going to be, I guess, Amazon and Target.
And Walmart, yeah. Yeah, well, let's not get into that. But yeah, I think that's really unfortunate for those of us who still like to have some physical media copies. Because, I mean, at a certain point, you know, and I think we talked a little bit about this, about how I think Disney wants to discontinue making DVD and Blu-ray copies of their products and just get everybody to come over to Disney Plus to our producer's just saying, I think just actually Target is discontinuing dads and Blu-rays. Oh, okay. Sorry, dads. You're all being discontinued. Oh, DVDs. He meant DVDs. Thank you, Brandon. Wow. So I guess Walmart and Amazon right now. But I mean, like we were saying, that it does seem like streaming services are trying to take out physical media, which has been our only alternative if we didn't want to pay for years and years of streaming services in order to rewatch movies, or, you know, it's just absolutely ridiculous at this point.
Now, on the plus side, I think we're going to see the effect that we used to have when, for those of you who may remember, Disney used to release titles of their movies, like one movie a year, and that was it. Everything would be locked away in the vault. So
yes,
I think what this means is that for those of us who have certain Blu-rays and DVDs, if they're no longer going to be released, their value is going to increase because you won't be able to like have access to any copies anymore, at least any copies that are not bootlegs.
Right. And that's yeah, and you know, and as Brandon just pointed out also, which is a shame because I enjoy commentaries and dads and Blu-rays. Yes, we all like to have comments about our dads.
Yes. Although sometimes dads can go on a little bit too much. That's when I reach for the remote. I'm like, where's the mute button? It's not working.
We're going to be really giving our producer Brandon a lot of grief about this from going forward, I think.
Yeah, I think
so. Yes, we will. Oh, my goodness.
So to summarize, dads and Blu-rays are no longer for sale at Target.
Yeah, no.
I want the dad who's like 40, economically well off, master PhD. Oh God, no, the PhD is too expensive. I'm gonna just go with the master one.
Yeah. So
he's renting, but he doesn't own. Yeah, I prefer the own, but it's a little expensive. I'll just go with.
What about leasing?
Lease
a dad, you know, I mean, I don't know. Isn't it? That's almost. We have a lot on this show.
For those who can't see our producer chatting, he's blaming the otter spell for trying to tell us DVD, and every time it comes up, dad.
Yeah, somebody's having issues here, you know. Marvel level dad issues.
It's the AI.
Okay, so one last thing to touch on. It is confirmed that Friends of Shore Leave and Farpoint, there will be a final get-together on the last weekend of October to say farewell to the Hunt Valley Hotel. For those of you who are not familiar with Shore Leave and Farpoint, that has been the traditional home of both of those Star Trek conventions. Unfortunately, because of, for whatever reason, expenses or whatever, the hotel is closing down at the end of this month, and so a number of people would like to get together and say goodbye. So if you are interested, it'll be all day on the last Saturday of this month. So
there's no planning associated to that, right? It's just like show up.
No, apparently, writer Bob Greenberger and Howie are going to be there. The Bob and Howie show. There's going to be some discussions, some memories, and also there's our friend Johnny has said that probably a lot of people are just going to end up in the bar. Costuming is encouraged. I would love to go, but I don't. Because I live all the way down here in Charlottesville, and it's.
So this is an effort to like hit the bar and then take anything that's off the walls you possibly can carry with you.
Yeah, pretty much. It's just drink and pillage, folks.
Drink and pillage, folks. So if you're drinking and pillage, there's a date for you.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, there's, if I suddenly have a reversal in fortunes here in the next couple of weeks, I mean, I'll probably I would love to show up and wear my Klingon garb because you really can't have Shore Leave and Farpoint without at least one Klingon. So,
well, I mean, considering that the place is going to be demolished, okay, and anything that's left over is probably just going to be sold to wholesalers. I have very little problem if anyone wants to pillage that day.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, I'm not that we endorse theft here, folks. We're just saying, it's out there.
Theft is bad. Yes, theft is bad. But yes, so for anyone who's wondering what's going to happen to the property is going to be demolished, which means that things are going to be destroyed or things are going to be sold to wholesalers.
Yes, and
wholesalers don't sell to the public; they sell to other companies or restaurants. So if you want to grab something to help remind you of the hotel, whether it be a piece of the escalator that never worked, now's the time.
Yeah.
Anything that's been left over from the Monster Mania, which Monster Mania is happening there right now. So anything that the Monster Mania people have left.
Yeah, which I don't imagine is going to be very much, but it is unfortunate because you and I both, and our producer Brandon and all of our friends, we have so many great memories. And
I love the memories, but I'm going to tell you, the facility has just been so run down over the last few years that I'm looking forward to a new home.
Yeah, well, folks, if anybody here who's a friend of Shore Leave or Farpoint, we'd love to hear your opinions on where you think the show could move to. I was talking with some people earlier today, and they pointed out that hotels within the Inner Harbor area are way too overpriced. But
what's the parking?
And the parking's even worse. Yeah, they even charge for the parking. So, folks, if anybody has any suggestions, we could pitch them to our friends who manage Farpoint Shore Leave, has alternatives. We've talked about. So go ahead.
We are planning a segment of the Weekend in Review, which is a sister show here on Movers and Shakers Unlimited, where we will talk about where the move might happen to be and if there will be a move.
That's right. Yeah. So please tune in today for that. And I guess that wraps it up for this week, my friend. We will be back again.
Predictions. We need to do predictions before we leave.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
My prediction is either the Cerritos will be towed away by the unknown spaceship, or even better, T'Lyn's former captain's ship will be captured.
Yes, and I think that's a distinct possibility. I think we'll find out that T'Lyn's captain and their relationship is a little bit deeper than we've suspected, which is why he had her move to Starfleet instead of keeping her in the Vulcan Exploration Division. I think also we're going to find out that this is obviously going to have something to do with the Black Mountain and the Electric Blue Koala, which we've been seeing a lot of in the last couple of seasons. Hopefully we're going to get some answers there. But it's just going to depend. So we're going to just keep tuning in, I think. And we have 3 more episodes of this season. God, I wish it was 17 episodes, but sorry, go ahead.
Here's my other prediction, that there will be before the end of the season, there will be a shared kiss between one of the lieutenant junior grades.
I think you will win your money on that one, Chris. So in any event, whatever happens, we will talk about it again in the next 3 weeks here on Lowdown on Lower Decks, here on the Movers and Shakers Unlimited Network. Until then, I'm Josh Pritchett.
And I am Chris Bowen.
And I'm not a dad for lease.
Peace and long life.
Bye, everybody.
Bye to all the dads out there.